Hare Krishna, we are continuing to read the Bhagavad Gita as it is, the book by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Chapter 3, Karma Yoga, Text 13. Yagya Shishtashanah Santo Muchyante Sarva Kilbishaich Bhunjante Te Tvagham Vapa Yepa Chantyatmakaranat. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Purport: the devotees of the Lord, the devotees of the Supreme Lord, or the persons who are in Krishna consciousness, are called santas. And they're always in love with the Lord, as it is described in the Brahma Samhita 5.38. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. The santas, being always in a compact of love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, the giver of all pleasures, or Mukunda, the giver of liberation, or Krishna, the all-attractive person, cannot accept anything without first offering it to the Supreme Person. Therefore, such devotees always perform yajnas in different modes of devotional service, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, etc. And these performances of yajnas keep them always aloof from all kinds of contamination of sinful association in the material world. Others who prepare food for self or sense gratification are not only thieves, but also the eaters of all kinds of sins. How can a person be happy if he is both a thief and sinful? It is not possible. Therefore, in order for people to become happy in all respects, they must be taught to perform the easy process of Sankirtana Yajna in full Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, there can be no peace or happiness in the world. Text 14. Annad bhavanti bhutani paryanyad anna sambhava yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samudbhava. All living bodies subsist on food grains, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. Purport: Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great commentator on the Bhagavad Gita, writes as follows: Ye indradyan gataya vasthitam yagyam sarveshwaram vishnum abhyarchya tatsheshtam ashnanti tena tadvihayatram sampadayanti tisanta sarveshwarasya yagya purushasya bhakta sarva kilbishai anadi kala vivridhair atmanubhava pratibandhakair nikilair papair vimuchyate. The Supreme Lord, who is known as the Yajna Purusha, or the personal beneficiary of all sacrifices, is the master of all the demigods who serve him as the different limbs of the body serve the whole. Demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna are appointed officers who manage material affairs, and the Vedas direct sacrifices to satisfy these demigods so that they may be pleased to supply air, light, and water sufficiently to produce food grains. When Lord Krishna is worshipped, the demigods who are different limbs of the Lord are also automatically worshipped. Therefore, there is no separate need to worship the demigods. For this reason, the devotees of the Lord who are in Krishna consciousness offer food to Krishna and then eat, a process which nourishes the body spiritually. By such action, not only are past sinful reactions in the body vanquished, but the body becomes immunized to all contamination of material nature. When there is an epidemic disease, an antiseptic vaccine protects a person from the attack of such an epidemic. Similarly, food offered to Lord Vishnu and then taken by us makes us sufficiently resistant to material affection. And one who is accustomed to this practice is called a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, a person in Krishna consciousness who eats only food offered to Krishna can counteract all reactions of past material infections, which are impediments to the progress of self-realization. On the other hand, one who does not do so continues to increase the volume of sinful action, and this prepares the next body to resemble hogs and dogs, to suffer the resultant reactions of all sins. The material world is full of contaminations, and one who is immunized by accepting prasadam of the Lord, in brackets, food offered to Vishnu, is saved from the attack, whereas one who does not do so becomes subjected to contamination. Food grains or vegetables are factually edibles. The human being eats different kinds of food grains, vegetables, fruits, etc. And the animals eat the refuse of the food grains and vegetables, grass, plants, etc. Human beings who are accustomed to eating meat and flesh must also depend on the production of vegetation in order to eat the animals. Therefore, ultimately, we have to depend on the production of the field and not on the production of big factories. The field production is due to sufficient rain from the sky, and such rains are controlled by demigods like Indra, sun, moon, etc. And they are all servants of the Lord. The Lord can be satisfied by sacrifices. Therefore, one who cannot perform them will find himself in scarcity. That is the law of nature. Yajna, specifically the Sankirtana Yajna, prescribed for this age, must therefore be performed to save us at least from scarcity of food supply. Jai. Text 15. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yagye pratishthitam. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. It's a very beautiful statement. The all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice. Purport. Yagyartha karma, or the necessity of work for the satisfaction of Krishna only, is more expressly stated in this verse. If we have to work for the satisfaction of the Yagya Purusha, Vishnu, then we must find out the direction of work in Brahman, or the transcendental Vedas. The Vedas are therefore codes of working directions. Anything performed without the direction of the Vedas is called vikarma, or unauthorized or sinful work. Therefore, one should always take direction from the Vedas to be saved from the reaction of work. As one has to work in ordinary life by the direction of the state, one similarly has to work under direction of the supreme state of the Lord. Such directions in the Vedas are directly manifested from the breathing of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is said, Asya mahato bhutasya nishvasitam etadyad rigvedo yajurveda samavedo tarvan girasaha. Quote, the four Vedas, namely the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda, are all emanations from the breathing of the great personality of Godhead. Unquote. Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 4.5.11. The Lord, being omnipotent, can speak by breathing air, for as it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord has the omnipotence to perform through each of his senses the actions of all other senses. In other words, the Lord can speak through his breathing, he can impregnate by his eyes. In fact, it is said that he glanced over material nature and thus fathered all living entities. After creating or impregnating the conditioned souls into the womb of material nature, he gave his directions in the Vedic wisdom as to how such conditioned souls can return home back to Godhead. We should always remember that the conditioned souls in the material nature are all eager for material enjoyment. But the Vedic directions are so made that one can satisfy one's perverted desires, then return to Godhead, having finished his so-called enjoyment. Oh my God. This is very interestingly formulated. Yeah. It is a chance for the conditioned souls to attain liberation. Therefore, the conditioned souls must try to follow the process of yagya by becoming Krishna consciousness. By performing Krishna consciousness, by becoming Krishna conscious. And here it says, by becoming Krishna conscious. Actually, one of the ways that I can't say I invented it, but I've been utilizing it, or I've been practicing it, is that Srila Prabhupada's books, in order to read them at a particular speed, it's something that I read from like how to read fast readers and everything, that sometimes when we know the word, you just look at it and then you already know the word. You don't have to read it like syllable by syllable. So it works in 99% or it works in 90%, but sometimes, especially if it's already 9 o'clock in the evening, I may read the beginning in a wrong way and then the end will come out wrong. So by becoming Krishna conscious, performing Krishna consciousness. Okay. So, even those who have not followed the Vedic injunctions may adopt the principles of Krishna consciousness, and that will take the place of performance of Vedic yajnas or karmas. Jai. So what we're doing right now actually is also a form of yagya, because we are Shravanam Diaries, and Shravanam Diaries is a podcast where we are journaling about our reading of Prabhupada's books, and we're listening to them, which is Shravanam, meaning hearing. And this is also a form of yagya, just like there is Kirtan, Sankirtana yagya. You chant, you hear. And the principles of Krishna consciousness also include living or visiting a holy place. And Prabhupada says it will take the place of performing the yagyas. Also, another yagya is to associate with the devotees. Another yagya is to worship the deities of the Lord, or pictures, which is also a form of deity. So, yeah, it's a very, very important point, and I strongly feel that this is something that should be addressed to the population. You know, some of the things, aspects of spiritual life may not resonate with everyone, but these topics that, you know, it would be nice to eat nicely, you know, it would be nice that we would live in harmony with nature. It would be nice to fulfill our perverted desires in a way that we can actually get rid of them and attain our transcendental nature and go back home, back to Godhead. You know, that may resonate with everyone. So these verses that we've been reading, very important verses of the 3rd chapter. And tomorrow, Krishna will say a very, very interesting statement regarding what happens if we do not follow the cycle of sacrifice in human life. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website, shravanamdiaries.com. Read these books along with us, share them with all of your friends, and let's save each other in this way and save ourselves as well. Hare Krishna. And of course, don't forget the first verse that we've read into today's episode is that, you know, preparing those yummy vegetarian preparations and offering them with love and devotion to the Supreme Lord, and then eating them, and then the immunizing from the effects of the material nature and purifying ourselves from the sinful life. And that's also very important. Sacrifice, yagya.